Excellent. Yes. Right.
10 minutes deep, you're right, man.
That's better than it could be. Alright, welcome everyone. This is Yaoi and Yuri. Well, generally we're talking about Yaoi and Yuri as a genre, but me and I can get started with a big old welcome back. Who was at our panel last year? Oh wow, okay. We had like a full room last year. It was very sweaty, but obviously we'll be talking about quite adult things here, so gird your delicate sensibilities at the door. And
yes, I should say in theory you've all been ID checked, so as far as we're concerned, you're all over it, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to agree that the pre-ID checked out there.
Yeah. Right. Now you go first.
I'm David Shirley. I've been creating LGBT comics since 2009. I also professionally let manga translations for a company called Digital Manga Guild, which to their credits included a Yaoi book which became infamous on the internet because the cover is of two guys holding each other with one of them with massive hands, as you do.
Is it
called Can You Feel My Hands?
Oh, I know.
Something like that. I worked for them and let Yaoi, Yuri, and everything in between, and there's some interesting sound effects and really glowing wangs and things, because don't really like to have wangs actually drawn for some reason. So you just have glowing white, vacant areas.
Does that make it easier to put sound effects in, or is it more difficult getting the right glowing machine?
The trouble is, the glowing machine includes screen tones, so removing the screen tones and then putting them back.
Yes, that's our career.
Yeah, my name is Tab Clinton. I write LGBT comics. I have done for 9 years now. I started when I was a wee baby at 16. In general, I got into drawing comics and things like that because of reading other webcomics and other comics and things like that. And then being like, I like this, but I would like to make my own thing, and going from there. And that's how I got into it. We thought it would be better if we made this into a, oh my god, these are amazing! So I haven't even looked at this. We're going to start with a pop quiz, which has lollipop prizes. Yeah, and these are from a proper old school shop.
Also, for my record, if any of you have any dietary things, it's apparently halal, they're vegetarian, and gluten-free. So
the only thing it has is sugar and
but hopefully none of these will die.
Unless we can suck on it.
Smells good. Okay, so, right. Who here, what does Yaoi mean? Let's start with the, come on, yeah, your hand went up first.
Yaoi is just Yaoi.
Yeah, what is Yaoi?
Sexual man on man, basically.
Yeah. Do you want to, anything more? Or do you want to Yeah.
Yaminashi, Yominashi,
Yaminashi, yes, there we go. Right, both of you are lollipop. Do you want to be on lollipop duty? My legs, they hurt.
We're delicate young people.
Okay, so to clarify, the term Yaoi originally got started. Have they been lollipops sufficiently? Excellent. The term Yaoi came into use in the 1980s, not the 1880s, because that would be interesting, but whatever. It's actually an acronym of Yaminashi, Ochinashi, Iminashi, which means no peak, no fall, no meaning. Let me
It's credited in some ways to someone who created Astro Boy and a lot of the early manga.
Yeah.
Basically him going, it's got no plot, it's shit. Essentially, that's what he was getting at.
Well, Yaoi was first, are you familiar with doujinshi as a term?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just to clarify, doujinshi is fan-made manga, which tends to be basically, it's like fan fiction but comic fan fiction, and basically artists at the time thought that this fan fiction was of poor quality and it tended to have no peak, as in there's no like climax in the story. There's no way to say that without being a double entendre, I'm sorry. And there's no sort of fall and no sort of meaning behind the story. And so from that beautiful acronym comes the term Yaoi.
You also have the lovely thing of there's a few fan ideas of what it means as well. Obviously that's sort of the official
The
one,
joke is that
but
Yaoi is the noise that makes as it goes in. Okay. Yuri. What does Yuri mean? Come on, yeah, at the back.
I don't know the acronym stuff, but it's basically Yaoi, but instead of it being 2 boys, it's 2 girls.
Yeah, on the nose, lollipop.
Yeah.
Would you also like some chairs? Because
Yeah, that would be
there's a throne,
fantastic.
but I'm guessing you want to sit next to each
Okay,
other.
well, bring it up back.
Yeah.
We'll go get a chair, I'll get one.
Yeah, go. Yeah, grab a lollipop on the way. Now, so Yuri, Yaoi is male romance, Yuri is female romance. Yuri literally translates in Japanese to lily. This is, you remember that sort of Joshinji thing I was talking about earlier? Some of the magazines that followed that around sort of the 80s, 90s, they had a Yuri tribe section, which was for female readers of Joshinji, and slowly that became associated with Lily tribe, meaning lesbians. So it's a slang that became more associated over time. Yeah, very good. Right. Okay. Does anyone know what shonen ai means? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Okay, so shonen ai, boys love. It literally translates. You know, familiar with Shonen Jump? Yeah. It basically means boys jump. Exciting names, right? And to be fair, in Japan, shonen ai isn't really a word they use for it. They use boys love, which so shonen ai, the distinction between shonen ai and yaoi is a Western invention. So for us, yaoi is the more explicit one, and shonen ai is the softer one. You lollipops? Yeah. Go for it. Yes.
There's no questions, okay.
Yeah.
It's just out of curiosity, because there's some Japanese games, like the one I can think of, mainly is Romantical Murder, that get called BL games or boys love games, but that's definitely not softer, more romance based.
Yeah.
So how come they call it that?
Just to clarify, boys love means everything. The idea of yaoi being explicit is the Western term.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's America that considers the word yaoi to be explicit stuff. In Japan, yaoi is a generic term.
the idea was that American publishers obviously means, well, I would say it's like more puritanical in some extent.
Yeah.
Want to have sort of separate genres for sort of the explicit stuff. In the same way as if you went to a bookshop, you wouldn't expect to see young adult, teen romance kind of stuff next to the hardcore pornography.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those sort of American
Inventions.
sort of Western inventions.
Because in general, most societies are quite prudent about different things. So America will have horrific violence all across TVs, but sex and romance, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Japan, you would refer to hentai is actually just a word. Hentai, people familiar with the term? Yeah, it just means pervert as a term. And you would call it, is it ecchi or H? From H content is how they would call it in Japan. Whereas we call it hentai because we've adopted their word and bastardized it.
There's a lot of things, to be honest.
Okay, going more on theme, next, do people know what shoujo means? Yeah?
Is it the same with the girls?
Yeah, basically. Again, do you want a lollipop? Yeah, go, up and down. Lollipops all free today. Shoujo means girls love, which we use in this country to mean like a softer, non-explicit Yuri. but in Japan it means liking little girls, so be very careful. Yeah.
It literally is sort of very underage girls.
Yeah.
So the Japanese tend not to use the term.
No, so they will use girls as well. So in the same way that we think Japanese words are cool, they think English words are cool. A friend of mine was taking pictures of really bad English t-shirts all over in Japan.
Yeah, like how we have kanji t-shirts, they have English t-shirts which make no sense whatsoever.
I can give you an example of how we've done it wrong. Super dry, the store that has the Japanese writing across.
Yeah.
If you type super dry into Google Translate, that's the kanji that comes up. It doesn't actually mean anything. It's just fake. It's not a Japanese company at all.
No, it came from like Korean, didn't it? So.
Yeah. So there's an example of how we did it wrong.
But I think a lot of, I don't know, you get occasional ones where it's just random English words like, or what was the other one? You probably find tons of them.
Yeah, generally it's
Japanese fashion is weird when it comes to.
Yeah, I have a t-shirts. I am do it.
There's a couple of blogs dedicated to translating people's tattoos to see what they actually put on themselves. Yeah. I mean, have you ever sort of read the instructions on like a Japanese or Chinese box set? You know, if you go to Poundland and buy a really cheap toy, it's got the English instructions on the back, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the next in the pop quiz? Bara. Oh, that was a sheepish hand.
Honestly, if I get this wrong,
No, you're right.
I would say like Barra is like more bigger, hairier, mostly the kind of.
Yeah, no, I'll take that. You get a lollipop for it.
Bears.
Bara is it's generally classified as yaoi written with men as the target audience. So it's written by men, for men. And yeah, instead of flowery pretty boys, it's
It's a generic thing. Yaoi and Yuri tend to be sort of written and aimed towards a female audience to some extent.
Yeah.
So Bara tends to be sort of the opposite of that. If that makes sense.
And not to say that men don't read both of them, but yeah, I think it's basically it's whether you like pretty boys or whether you like.
I like how you sort of gesticulate me a bit.
You two have beautiful hair. Okay, here's a Shouju Yuri. Yeah?
I actually stab at the dark because I don't actually know what this is. But like, is it like the pretty girly, and like one of the girls on like completely all.
Almost. Oh, the cameraman has a thought.
Is it females that look masculine?
No, but keep that answer in your pocket for later on. Yeah.
If Barra is so like small women,
Yeah, she's made the clues.
it's more
Yeah.
normal women rather than like the skinny fantasy or something like that.
No, not quite. And so Bara is yaoi written with men as the target audience.
Females the problem.
Exactly, there we go. You get sweetie. Sorry everyone. Yes, Yuri written with women as the target audience is called Shouju Yuri. This is contrasted to, I don't know where you can see it, not very well. Oh well. Make it bigger.
But that means also the diaries look better as well.
You're familiar with shonen anime, right? So that tends to be boys up to 18. You're familiar with seinen anime and manga?
That's idol.
Basically it's aimed at men between 18 and 30. That's seinen. So let's give an example of if you consider Naruto to be shonen. Seinen is Death Note, Attack on Titan, and stuff with more adult themes. Yosei, so that's where you get the Yuri where there's more crying and angst, and there tends to be giant robots and things. Sorry, I'm just... How many people are making that noise? That's I just... Oh man, she's got like a crash.
Josie's same sort of thing. You end up with sort of Yuri written for a slightly older audience, 18 to 30. As a side note to this, if any of you want to get into doing lecturing like I do for like Digital Management Guild and similar places, interestingly, those are the ones that you get upfront payments per page and get royalties. The others you only get royalties, which is a massive difference in how much money you make.
Yeah.
Which sounds dreadful, but it's essentially because a lot of the Jose assignment stuff that's currently getting licensed at the moment are quite in demand, but there's not a lot of it being translated for Western audiences yet. Because
Which is interesting because Yaoi Yuri tends to be more realistic. So Yaoi Yuri is the only Yuri you'll tend to get butch lesbians, as in short hair, flannel wearing, to use some stereotypes, but more masculine women who are happy masculine. And it's interesting because a lot of Western comics, women and lesbians are represented that way anyway. Shoujo Yuri, you tend to have very thin girls, very pretty ones, and so very, and while doing the research, they describe it as idealised body shapes.
Similar in the way that a lot of obviously female characters in like Marvel DC have ridiculous proportions and spines that do remarkable things.
In the world of manga and anime, they just make people thinner.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Right, Bishonen. Oh, there we go. Do you want another lollipop? Or do you want to give a lollipop to someone else who you think should get one?
What's a lolly?
Oh, yeah, there we go. Why did you say me? I'm so like... I was a bit about like, the second I gave away the second one, I was like, I really want a lollipop. Yeah. Get some of the
Awesome, fair.
Yeah.
That's the end of the
Wait. Okay, so Bishonen, pretty boys, look how pretty they are. Yeah, and that is, people familiar with just so some people aren't left in the dark, there's a thing about Yaoi where just the hands are drawn so large, and that's where the term Yaoi hands comes from. I once did a panel, another convention called 10 Things I Hate About Yaoi, which, as we're looking at the medium, and one of them was random objects lost inside people. But as part of the panel, we did a test around the room to find the person with the smallest hands and the person with the largest hands, and to put them together to see what the size difference was. But yeah, so Bishonen, shortened to Bishi, if you hear people talking about their Bishi boys, you can understand their secret words now. It is, so that...
It's also odd that the shonen tend to turn up more in yaoi and more in certain very romantic stuff, whereas the shoujo tend to just be, look, there's some pretty girls in this anime, go watch it.
Yes.
Where it doesn't quite seem to have the same effect.
Yes, yeah.
Which is kind of odd.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
This is pronounced Bifonen. Bifonen. Yes?
Well, yes. Is
Yeah.
this pretty androgynous men cross-dressing this room?
No, almost.
Pretty cross-dressing women tend to be men.
Yes. There you go. See, you missed your time, cameraman. Bifonen is it's similar to a tomboy, but it's a woman who cross-dresses, but in what's considered an admirable way. Which is basically, so you see them occasionally, in anime they turn up, but it turns up in Yuri a lot. It'll be a woman dressed in a suit or like a military uniform or something, and people think she's really attractive or cool or stuff like that. And there's really no Western equivalent to that. Can anyone think of like a cross-dressed woman who's considered awesome and sexy in a Western thing? Yeah.
Considered sort of tomboy,
Yeah. I think it's because it's not a woman dressing as sort of like a manly man. It's a woman dressing as a pretty man. And with it comes this sort of the gentlemanliness about it. To look at an example in sort of early 1920s Western cinema, if a woman was turning up wearing a suit, that was a way of getting the fact that she was a lesbian through the censors. So it's a very different context for us. This is similar to the Takaratsu Review, which is a Japanese all-female acting and musical troupe. That picture is from that, and they look absolutely fantastic. Seriously, one of my dreams is to go and see one of these shows. Some of the female actors only do male roles in certain parts, or some switch between, and yeah, they just look absolutely amazing. That's actually a tradition that dates back to the 1900s, because before then, Japan, like England, had a history of only men playing all of the roles in theatre.
Yes. You do find especially not so much in Sailor was sort of the first positive, like Yuri relationship in mainstream sort of anime stuff. Before that, there was a history of sort of, I think I mentioned it later maybe, but there's the tragic lesbian character, which is always the older of the couple, tends to be the, by falling sort of dressing in suits and things, tends to be a bit more sophisticated, and the other partner is the younger sort of impressionable girl going through a phase kind of thing. Where the idea is, in a lot of things, for a long time, you would end up with the older girl in the couple would die tragically, so that the younger one could get through her phase and settle down with a nice man, have kids.
Because there is a tradition of schoolgirl lesbianism in Japan not being a thing. Like, it's a bit like, you experiment, but when you get to 30, you need to settle down and have a child immediately. And that's while Japan has like a really, what we look at is a very accepting view on same-sex marriage and things like that. They actually have a very traditional values under running it and treat a lot of it like it's a phase. Now I think, yeah, okay, right. Your hand could go on fast enough. Would you like to earn that lollipop?
I already have one. I do know what this is, but if I don't say it right, I'm going to kill myself. Basically, Sammy is the dominant older, well, the dominant one, and Yuki is the sort of like more sort of bitch.
Is that bitch? Anyone want to add to the spin? That's pretty good. You already got it. Yeah, you're pretty happy with that. Okay. Same or the top. This is taken from the martial arts verb to attack. We're talking about.
I think we mentioned it last year in this one. A lot of, so historically in Japan, there was, you know how we have sort of apprentices and masters kind of things. In Japan, there was very much a tradition of passing down skills in such as martial arts, certain sort of monks and different things like that. And you would have an apprentice that you would spend all your time with passing down all your knowledge and training them. The idea was, but it was, let's say, widely accepted that this happened, that the older man would be allowed to satisfy his urges on the apprentice, who was, kind of. Whereas you've got ancient Greece where it was very much a bonding moment, it is to that extent, but also a matter of kind of the master having some dominance over the sort of accepting student kind of thing. But the strange thing, especially with monks, was that, and a few others, was that a man on either side of that relationship, because after you reach a certain age, it's unseemly to be a bottom anyways, apparently. So you would end up with things along the lines of it was accepted for monks to be sort of bisexual. You were allowed to essentially be with as many women as you wanted, but you had to be loyal to your male partner. It was essentially a monogamous relationship. You were not allowed to sort of go off with another man because it was one of those strange...
So that plays into that really weird bisexuality thing. Is anyone familiar with like the boyfriend of like a bisexual woman? So like it's fine if you sleep with other girls because it doesn't count. That weird... Yeah. Anyway, a bottom from the verb leukemia, which means to receive. Cat or necker is also used in gay slang to mean bottom. Everyone wearing cat-ears shamefully. There's actually, I'm not sure if you're interested, but there's a fantastic yaoi manga about a guy who tries to order a cat girl off the internet and accidentally gets it. Just don't know the name of it because it's completely gone. It's so funny and amazing because he has a cat boy turn up. He's actually a bit of an arsehole, but it's a really good story.
Well, actually, this is something I've done. I like to do the anime on. I do anime series every week.
Yeah.
And the 100th column I was writing was an April Fool's Day, so I created my own Yaoi series featuring myself and my boyfriend. Yeah. And we're both 30, so I'm a wolf and he's a cat wolf. So he's the bottom. So that's what we did.
Very nice. So, alright, if we go back to the So, the seme thing, it's very rare in yaoi manga and in Yuri manga for there to be switching going on. I don't know, does anyone have any thoughts about why that is? Because I can like rant for ages, but you know. In the same way that I think that people are very weird about bisexuality because they're just like, just decide so I know where I am with you, okay?
And also the lovely thing of, you're with a woman or you're with a man, clearly that means you're this sexuality now.
Or it means that way,
And it has to be like it's like defining roles.
Whereas to us, most surveys and anecdotal evidence of gay men suggest that most of them are a little bit moving back and forth, and actually people who only do one way or one other are rare. This is something that, though on the sort of kink and BDSM scene, switches are actually considered very weird and interesting.
Also, from what I've, heard, switches also have this sort of weird, I don't know what to call it, reputation perhaps, for talking back a bit to dominance.
Oh, yes,
because there's that strange sort of,
I don't know, maybe if you did it right.
But there's a lot of, there's a reputation for switches to be sort of, if I was the one dominating me right now, I'd be doing this. And it's
like, doesn't that tie into like you could that someone should like a bossy bottom is the worst thing you could ever be.
It's kind of like backseat drivers and things like that.
That's words.
Which actually, I didn't mean for that to come out that way. But that's.
But in general, like yaoi manga tends to be very. Why is it all about the butt sex? Because again, in survey evidence of like actually looking into what gay men do with each other. Anal sex isn't actually super high on the list. It's actually about 50%. Which is why the fact that if you slept with a man and you can't give blood for a year is such a weird. Sorry, people know about this?
Yeah.
If you want to donate blood, if you have slept with a man or slept with a man that's had sex with a man, you're not allowed to donate blood for a year. To be honest, if it was just a bit that says, have you had butt sex this year? And a universal question, then I'd be okay with it. But it's clearly saying a couple of things about how they assume gay or bisexual men.
I think they've actually changed that recently because
They changed it. It used to be.
Yeah, because I gave blood a couple of weeks ago and I had to fill it out massive form and it's changed it to if you are a man and you have had anal sex with a man or like had sex with a man.
The recent change is that it used to be you can give blood never, and now it's you can give blood if you're abstinent for a year. Right. But I don't know, do you find, especially in general romance novels and things like this, there's this big thing about penetrative sex being like the be-all, end-all of like the
coup de grace.
Communication, culmination of all of this romance has to end with like something going into something, otherwise it's not real sex.
Even in Yuri you see a lot of this.
Yeah,
It's really odd because you would think there'd be less emphasis on that. I mean, to be honest, and to be fair, this is a really stupid thing, but we did, Tab and I once had a conversation when Tab was it was the bonus comics for Chaos, wasn't it?
Yeah.
One of the conversations in the pub after Comic-Con, whilst I was writing it, was how much butt sex is too much butt sex? Because, what was it?
It's a very valid question.
I mean, when you're writing, what was it? A few chapters that were smutty kind of.
It's like you don't know. You don't want it to always end up going this way. To use an example from like Yuri stuff, I found this great one. This is from a comic called Prison. It's just one of them asking the other one, where is this supposed to end for girls? When we get tired? I don't know. And it's that thing, like some people go around saying that, lesbians don't have real sex. But I think slowly
What's the whole Queen Victoria supposedly said?
Yeah, I think that one's a myth. Yeah, I remember that from last year.
It's always a great myth.
The Queen Victoria myth is the fact that, sodomy is illegal up to 1979 and 1969, or was it 68? 69 sounds too funny, so let's go with 68. Sodomy was legal and homosexuality was legal in this country up to 1968. But lesbianism wasn't, because apparently Queen Victoria just couldn't understand why lesbians would want to do that with each other, so it was never, made illegal. Is anyone familiar with the term gold star lesbian?
Lesbian is basically all women.
Yeah, it's a lesbian that's never kissed a man.
Yeah.
That's the apparent thing. I'm a gold star bisexual. Okay. Right, so, moving on. It was relevant.
Also the guests were supposed to be getting
This fan comic, this Dragon Ball Z fan comic is so funny because basically about halfway after they start doing it, they start creating craters with all of their
If anyone remembers Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the series where she started hunting Spike, when almost leveled a few houses.
Yeah.
Think that, but it's slightly larger scale.
Okay, so who here is actually a Yaoi fan? Hands up. Okay. Okay, who's like a Yuri fan? Who got dragged here by a friend? It's his panel. Okay. And the next one is, what do you like about it? Go on, like, you get a lollipop by telling me something that you like about Yaoi. Yeah?
I just think that, like, quite often it's the relationships are actually a lot cuter and a lot more kind of, I don't know, I think the kind of, not struggle, I wouldn't say that, but the kind of drama they have to go through to kind of be together, it's more engaging than sometimes in an anime or a manga where it's like a straight couple.
So the taboo nature of the relationship.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes it more like dramatic to watch, I suppose.
No, totally. And the other thing, does anyone else ever find this? I can't watch romance movies at all because the female character is always crap. Like, it just, yeah, oh my god, so many nice around. Like, she's crap, or he's a pathetic idiot, and she's trying to fix him with her love. Been there, done that relationship, not doing it again. But in some ways, reading about gay relationships, in some ways they're coming at it with an equal footing, and that can lead to some really interesting romance stories. Anyone else? Would you like a lollipop?
I'll give one to
Go on. Say what you like and get a lollipop.
I was going to say the fact that in the media, like the way you see the TV shows around like American TV and English TV, you don't have like gay relationships shown as much as like straight relationships. I find it quite interesting. The fact that in like Japan and all around there is like a larger section that seems a bit hidden.
I mean, Netflix does have a gay and lesbian section.
I know.
Which is really weird.
Yeah. Even in comics and things like that, and even in webcomics and stuff, if you think government statistics have like about 1 in 10 people as gay and queer or whatever, and that's like a low estimate, but 1 in 10 films definitely doesn't feature gay people in it. 1 in 10 comics definitely don't feature sort of a bisexual person in it, and it just means that there's not much of it for something that there is a lot of people who identify with that.
I found the thing that I find interesting when it comes to manga and anime versus, I mean, personally I'm a big comics fan, I'm a big DC comics fan, but the thing I've always found is that whereas manga and anime will introduce LGBT characters and it's just LGBT character doing things and, you know, living life and doing whatever, going to school or whatever it is that they're doing. Whereas
school talking about boys. Talk about girls.
Whereas when like DC or Marvel has, I mean, they've had like Midnight and a bunch of
such a big show. Jesus. The Iceman thing, like
I mean, they had Marvel had the gay wedding, which was a massive publicity stunt, and then within weeks, DC went, oh, we've got a gay character now, and had this massive hype about. Everyone was going, oh, is Batman going to actually turn out to be gay, or one of the like big name characters? No, it turns out to be a Green Lantern that no one's actually bothered with for the past 20 years because he's one of the old fantasy ones.
Isn't Iceman?
Yes, I believe he's.
Iceman has recently been called gay in one of the comics, and there was an entire like 3-page dialogue between him and Jean Grey, and he's like, I don't know, it felt like him being like, maybe I'm a bit bi because in an alternate reality I had a happy life with a woman, and she's like, no, you're gay, super gay, gay, I know, I looked in your brain and I saw the gay there. And I'm just like, bi isn't a dirty word.
I mean, you've also got, if anyone knows this from DC Comics, there was does anyone know why Batwoman was invented?
Oh yeah, because there was rumours of Batman being gay and they...
Yes. And guess what happened? Guess what happened in the 90s with Batwoman when she fell in love? She's a lesbian and she fell in love with Renee Montoya, one of the GCT.
Have you read Batgirl?
Yes.
Yuri Zuzu, that's the transgender character in the
Oh yes, yes, I heard about that.
And he did the whole thing where they basically pull a mask off someone, it was quite transformed. When they collected it and they changed the dialogue,
See,
rather than listen to the fans, I thought,
I'm very surprised. I mean, Gil Simone is one of my favourite writers, and I think that she did quite well, and there's a few others that have been done quite well. I know one of the issues that I've had a few times, and I know that Tab did at least once with Charlie, was that there's certain stereotypes in LGBT culture that don't transcend different country boundaries. So, for instance, you had a scene with Charlie and Jamie, where there was something that a trans character did that over here would have been seen as just, you know, people doing what people do.
Yeah.
Whereas in America, it was a very massive negative stereotype thing that obviously you had to change.
The other one you sometimes find is just queer culture between different countries. We use such different words. Like in some countries, queer isn't a word that people use at all, which I understand because it's been used as a slur over the years.
you just, I thought it, probably shouldn't laugh at this, but do you say about making the Green Lantern gay? Basically, do you know how much you know about Green Lantern? How much you know about Green Lantern?
A little bit.
Basically,
I know that my son was gay as well in the 80s.
Anything yellow, sort of like the weakness. When they originally did it, didn't have all that in. Basically, the original Green Lantern's weakness was anything wood. So basically, that one in F2.
I'm for it. My favourite thing on my break is that.
I'm just like, that's kind of, I'm a fun funny.
What camera?
Yeah. But anyway, sorry.
This is long hard things.
Yeah.
How long have we got, just so we don't run on to the next person?
Apparently it's not that for us, so it goes
Oh wow, okay, but we're running close to the end. Any other thoughts on what you like about? Yeah,
I kind of like Yaoi more because I just read everything.
okay. Yeah.
But I kind of prefer Yaoi because it's a lot less, like the ones that I read, there's a lot less emotional thing from submissive. Like the ones that I read, they're normally two very conflicting personalities.
So you
they're
like
kind of
these?
rival ones.
Okay, yeah.
So because like with like the boy ones, like I don't like the male characters because they always get really whiny, and then they just like go up and it's just like,
Yeah.
like just shut up, get over your problems, you two.
Just
So-
jeez.
It's not even just like, it's just like you can just have a normal conversation without you completely collapsing into
I'm not a fan of crying in stories. I think it's overused a fair bit. That's a pet peeve of mine. Everyone has a pet peeve. You had a thing that you liked. Go for it.
I was really to Yaoi when I was like 14, 15, and basically it's because I had such a strong need to see the my shippings together. So I basically created it myself, and
I'm 25 and it still happened.
I'm actually curious about one thing with this, because a few of you said that you're LGBT or, you know, questioning or something along that lines. Is anyone here sort of, was there a particular manga, anime or film, TV, book, whatever, that you read when you were younger that sort of not exactly introduced you into it, but was the first time you really saw representation of you?
Yeah, what were the
anything?
first sort of quick book? Can anyone remember? Because I remember.
I vaguely remember a lot of fuss about Brookside as a kid. Was it Brookside?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When it, I don't know, when it comes to gender stuff, Tamora Pierce, she's a fantasy artist. She does some amazing things that had a really interesting things about gender. Gay stuff, I'm a second generation gay. I have my late uncle was gay and works as an actor in Canada, and I have a lesbian artist. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
second generation. So, you know, for me, I grew up, I didn't have to worry about like whoever I brought home, I wasn't going to get kicked out. Which is nice. Yeah, anyone out there, does anyone remember the first thing that they saw queer stuff in? Yeah.
Well, it doesn't count, but Orange High School Host Club was very, very on the line.
Yeah,
Especially as the one female character was cross-dressing.
yeah, totally.
Especially with Hickory and Harry.
Baker and Power.
That is a very self-aware show. It's so funny. I love her in high school. I first watched anime through like Dragon Ball Z, and it's like the most burly, massive thing you can find. And then almost the second show I watched was a friend of mine had fruits baskets, and I was like, what is this? This is amazing. Amusingly enough, same voice actor of Vegeta is a Yami, the pretty snake one in Fruits Basket. So,
See, I think mine would be. I'm trying to think. When I think
I'll
anime.
ask the question if you don't know your own
Yeah,
answer.
terrible. Anime, probably the likes of. Does anyone remember Project Eagle? Project Eagle was. Yeah. It was originally commissioned as a porn anime, but there's 30 seconds of the original footage still in the,
Oh wow.
the original film.
Is it
Because they decided it was going to be a comedy instead, because it was originally.
Talking about stuff that was originally for porn, you know the You've Got the Touch song from Transformers.
Oh,
That was originally for a porn. Every time you hear it now. Okay, so we've talked about why you like it. Like, who here's actually drawn or written or anything, you know? Oh my god, it's almost half the room!
I like the Maggie said slowly, but
Is it fan work? Did you make your own? What got you into draw it? Go for it now.
I wrote like quite a lot of fan fiction. So I went to Italia where the kind of male to female ratio is about 21 male to female. And then I ended up in a competition because it annoyed my ex at the time, so I went on a Yaoi ban. And then my friend challenged me to a competition to write a same-sex story. So I wrote a solely to Yuri story and put it on fanfiction, and it's been my most popular story, and it's really worried me. Because it's just like, no, read the other one. And then I got so many reviews, I actually put up the second part of it. And so,
Yeah, I got that. Yeah. My first fanfic stuff was I accidentally came across some like Yu-Gi-Oh fan fiction, and I thought it was the actual story. Like this is really, and I was like, I thought it was like, I was a bit like, they figured out a way for both the like Yami and Yugi to exist at once. But why are they pregnant? I don't understand.
I learned very quickly when drawing Yaoi as a young teen, don't let friends who aren't aware of that stuff see you drawing Yaoi. One of my friends once saw one, and he was the only person out of anyone who actually saw it who instantly recognized that one of the characters was me, because I had a certain trademark when I used to sketch myself, and I was like, yeah, that's not what you think it is. Please stop screaming.
No.
But
was the other one him? Because
no,
that would have been quite awkward. Yeah, that's a friendship breaker there.
Yeah.
We should write a story about that.
I mean, other than that, one of the weirdest reactions I've ever had, and this came from a straight guy based on a panel in this book, if I can find it. It was Comic Convention last year, year before, I think.
Oh, is that the one that screamed at you?
Yeah, he screamed at us about how
If you want to
filthy my comic
spill, you
was.
can look at like the centerfold of this. Jesus.
But
It's Big Ben.
But yes, he screamed at me about this particular panel because apparently, such filth, how dare I, children are in the room, was this bottom panel here. If anyone can see that.
They're just,
apparently that is the most disgusting thing he's ever seen. Interestingly, there's a page later on where there's a naked lady beating a guy to death with a guitar, which was perfectly fine because violence is okay.
yeah. The question is, going on, now, Yaoi and Yuri, it's fun, and I really like the genre, it got me into it so much, I love the shit out of it, but it's not perfect. There's some stuff which, you know, could use some work. And the first one, someone was talking about how whiny the girls are in it. Yaoi stories rarely have women in them. Yeah, on boys' schools. The Yuri stories normally have men in them. So that's sort of something that would be nice to see change. Or the women are normally the villains in Yaoi stories, or the thing getting in the way of like the true love of these two guys. But it would be nice to see some real fleshed out female characters.
Which sounds awfully like a supernatural fandom on Tumblr, to be honest.
No,
Definitely not.
it's history. Made history yesterday. So the UN voted.
Yeah.
US.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, it reminds me about that. What, it was, it's something to do with Stitch.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
Stitch
it's
was
also,
extended 626, and in America, because they did the date the other way around, it was 626. So people were saying that Stitch was the reason the gay marriage got legalised, and they put this on Tumblr. and then it put down like Ohana family valuation because like behind your regard and it was like
Pride flag. So,
Here's an interesting one. So Yuri comics have women in them, but because in some ways it's romance and then sex, the women in Yuri comics are sexualized. I don't know, it's an interesting one, because I would like to write more stories. I tend to write more, try and get more women into my stories, but if you're writing more romances about women, can you write a story which is a romance between a woman and whatever other gender, and make the woman not sexualized and sexualize all the men instead? I don't know, experiments with writing, see where it goes. The other one is more stories that pass the Bechdel test. Anyone familiar with that? Yeah? You know what's Bechdel?
Where you don't actually the female characters actually talking to each other. Not talking around men.
Yeah, almost. You can have a lollipop if you want. Yes. I'm sorry, the pop quizzes. To be honest, there's enough of you that we could probably get that one on the way out. But yours were hard earned. Okay, the Bechdel test is a 3-part test. The first one is there need to be it's normally done for films. The first part of the test is, are there 2 women with names in it? First part of the test. So many films fail on just this bit. Second bit is,
I'm going to fail that as well.
yeah, there's a lot.
do they have a conversation with each other? So many films do not pass the test. Is this conversation not about a man? And to be honest, it's not. There are lots of it's not a feminism test. It's just pointing out the fact that there are so many movies out there that if women do turn up, they barely have names and they don't talk about anything except men.
it's never been portrayed as this film's great because it passes. They saw it's bad because it doesn't.
Yeah, it's just something to point out.
It's a tool for writers to kind of go, we really should fix this thing that we're not doing.
Yeah. Have you heard? There's many different tests, sort of like, or things that films can pass and everything like that. I propose that one of the next tests should be if the feminism in the film infuriates men's rights activists so much that they boycott the film, it should be called a Furiosa. Oh, Mad Max looks okay, I guess. Men's rights are out boycotting it. Fucking here I go. I watched that film twice. I had a good time.
Men's rights activists, I'm assuming you all know about the gaming side of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have long enough to go into that one.
Not to go into it in particular, but do you guys know a game called Remembering?
Yeah.
When it was first launched, apparently they took it around to a few publishers before they finally found one that would actually publish it. And apparently one of the arguments that one publisher had against it was that at some point you play a female character who kisses a man and that's gay. Because clearly it's for men to play the video game. So if the men, through a female avatar have to kiss another man, it's like kissing another man and being gay.
Yeah.
Yeah. which is also why when they released Life is Strange, which is the newest game, there was a lot of men's rights activists going, why couldn't you make the characters male? Because the lead two female characters are women. And yeah, there was a lot of people complaining that why do you have to have female characters?
No, it's not like it's not like that 51% of the population or anything. Right, moving on, because we should wrap up soon. One thing, Yaoi is weirdly Caucasian for something that comes from Asia. The other one is the only Yaoi manga that I can think of that has a black dude in it. It's called Underground Hotel, and it's set in a prison, so yeah.
Just a little bit.
I don't know, I mean, to be honest.
I think it's a terrible way, is it waxing or waving? I think that's my
Okay, it's not one that, yeah, so in general, it's not something you really get in anime manga, but that's because in Japan, they have such stringent immigration laws that they really don't have many people of colour in Japan. The people who read anime and manga are, you know, all different types of people. And so it'd be nice to see that represented a little bit. Yeah, that's all I got on that one. And something we hinted at all the way through the panel, I know we're coming to time, but something that happens a lot in these stories is tragic endings, and this is a screenshot of Netflix. Kill your darlings, tragic. Blue is the warmest colour, tragic. Suicide room, tragic. And so there's a common theme, you know, throughout these stories.
It kind of has a little bit of sound up to it, I think.
Boys don't cry. Oh. But then I also, I was joking about this the other night when we were planning this panel, that to be honest, most queer stuff I normally cry at. Pride, I cried because I was so happy for everyone. Has anyone seen Pride? Pride?
Oh, it's
it's the lesbian and gay support the minors.
Yeah,
It's about that. It's a fantastic film and really funny as well. I highly recommend
Did you
it.
see the American covers of that?
Pardon?
When they released it in America on the DVD covers, they removed kind of the protest signs.
Yeah.
So and changed the logo back. So those don't really.
Is it like how they tried to make the Imitation Game, which has all the other mathematician, Alan Turing, thank you very much. They tried to make it like he was not gay, but
Which is kind of a big.
that's a big part of it, really.
In Relations 5, because when there's like, oh look, it's like off the cover. There was someone like there was a raffle for like an anti-gay group, and that was one of the prizes because they didn't know there was any gays in it.
Wow.
I hope they watched it and just burst out screaming.
Should have watched it. Okay, and the other one that I would like to change about Yaoi and Yuri is just bisexuality. It's a thing, we talked about this earlier. Yeah, bisexuality, pansexuality, being queer, being variable. They're all things, and you don't have to just pick one or the other.
You also have the lovely trope that happens a lot, especially in Western stuff, is the trope of either, one of two things. Either bisexual man, say Captain Jack Harkness from Doctor Who, right? Introduced as pansexual character.
Omnisexual.
Yes,
Really
omnisexual.
doesn't
But you never see him in the series with anything but a man, because I'm not sure, is it simply the norm is to be with, for him to be straight, to be with a woman? So showing it with a man somehow shows that he's not straight. Whereas there doesn't seem to be a middle ground there of sort of, at least flirting with.
It does a little bit, but yeah, I get it. It's that thing of people were like, oh, bi men are secretly gay and bi women are secretly doing it for men. What is so attractive about men? Seeing as women are supposed to be the fairer sex, surely it should be that, that bi men are secretly slow. I don't know. People are weird. Any pet peeves from the around the room? Something that you, go.
I've not seen much in terms of reality, but those when people do link it to men, normally they just seem to just stick it in, and I'm pretty sure that hurts.
This is one of my comments is a picture of, this was the first one I did, and it's two gentlemen in top hats saying to each other, "I say, Reginald, do you realise we could be having anal intercourse right this second? That may be Johnson. Rather not know. My anus is still bleeding rather profusely. Ah yes, should have used more lube. Indeed. Yes, good." So yeah, it's that whack it in attitude. Could you not?
Also, it's a little rapey at times. Where it's like, oh,
People who order, like people who run retail shops that have manga sections. I've heard a few people who have hentai sections who have in the past had to ask distributors for, do you have anything that is less rapey?
Yeah.
Like using those exact words. So yeah, it's a little bit of a problem.
It's a major problem, so much of a problem that, to be honest, I try and not talk about in Yaoi panels because otherwise it becomes a 5-minute what is wrong with the world tirade. We'll move on to happier stuff. That is a very fair point. Yeah. Sorry, you next. Yeah.
I was doing like some and it's like when one person's with somebody else already and it's the third person maintained one or two people. And they're very fun.
So cheating or polyamory?
Where like then the person who's in the relationship, the person who likes the person, go off together and then like by the end of it they're like, oh yeah, I don't love the other person. He wants to.
So Scott Pilgrim essentially.
Yes.
But like where there is like a fling moment, but then there's no remorse for the other character that this person has just cheated on, and then they just like come back and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gay now with this person. See ya.
To be fair, Romeo and Juliet has a similar premise. I mean, if you've ever seen or read that play, it opens with Romeo going, Rosaline, I can never ever get over this beautiful woman who's just left me, who I was engaged to for months. And then,
Juliet,
and lots of people die within 3 days. It's a terrible example of romance, but everyone sort of goes, this is the pinnacle of romance, we must. I know I say
Just some of the really sort of irks me is when I get like a Jinshi or manga and I'm flicking through and it comes to sort of the, like the sex scene, and clearly it's peen, but they think that they can hide it by just putting little tiny black stripes. And you're just like, it's clearly there, I can see it, just don't,
blame the Japanese government.
Yeah, I know.
I can tell like the rest of the room, the Japanese 1800s obscenity laws are still in effect. The obscenity laws prohibit depiction of genitals, but an interesting point is it won't allow you to show genitals, but it's fine without pubic hair, which is why a lot of stuff that comes from Japan, there was a big wave of clean, shaving stuff.
There was also your mention about the Americans.
Oh yes.
Through Japan and West as well.
Okay, so during the American occupation of Japan after World War II, they banned. They banned.
Certain kinds.
No. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. As a bit. They banned lack of freedom of speech. Okay, let's just stick with that. Okay, so before we were under the Japanese obscenity laws, which are still in effect, before they were like, okay, here is my novel, and it would come back with big red X's like, no, you cannot have this under the obscenity rules. Under the American regime, they would send the manuscript away and then get a rewritten copy with all of the stuff that wasn't allowed removed because they had banned lack of freedom of speech. You couldn't show that anything had been censored even though you were censoring it.
Right.
Yeah. America. Okay, but those laws are still in effect in general. people didn't get prosecuted to them until in 2003 someone got waged a very hefty £3,000 fine, and when he said everyone's drawing dicks in Japan, they doubled the fine. like that moment of like, well, so, I don't know, people are weird. Any other pet peeves for Rue? If not, we can move on to you two at the end of the panel. Thank you so much for listening and chatting with us. Feel free to grab a lollipop on the way out. I think that's it for panels for you this weekend, isn't it? I've got a panel tomorrow, I think at 11 on Steam Fashion, which is like a history of, I'm going to do a brief history of underwear. You see what I did there? And then talk about a history of hats, history of the corset, and then talk about like the development of the bow tie through history. So cool if you want to check that out, which will be in this room as well. That is where you can find our stuff, and feel free to, we're both in the dealer's tent.
I'm in the tent with the grape carpet behind me, which is a terrible, terrible tent.
I'm in the tent with the rainbows. Feel free to come and chat for the rest of the weekend. If not, you guys have a fantastic time, and thank you for listening.
I really like your outfit, and you put like, it's very funny.